Sicil knew she only had a few hours before Sebastian would pick her up for work, so she decided to make an early trip to Ethan's house. It was a spontaneous decision, but she felt an urge to see him, to clear the tension that had settled between them the night before. As she stood at Ethan's doorstep, holding the paper bag with a slice of her birthday cake, she took a deep breath. Her fingers nervously traced the edges of the bag as she debated if she should knock. Before she could second-guess herself, the door opened. Ethan stood there, his hair tousled, still in his comfortable pajama bottoms and a plain white t-shirt. The surprise on his face quickly turned into a soft smile as he took in the sight of her. "Sicil, what are you doing here so early?" he asked, his voice tinged with genuine surprise. I brought you some cake," Sicil stammered, holding out the bag with a shy smile. "You missed out on it last night, so I thought we could share it now." Ethan's eyes softened as he looked at her, his expression melting into one of pure affection. "That's really sweet of you, Sicil," he said, taking the bag from her. He glanced inside, noticing the neatly wrapped slice of cake. "You didn't have to, but I'm really glad you did." He stepped aside, motioning her to come in. "Come on in, let's have breakfast together. I was just about to make some coffee." Sicil walked in, feeling a wave of warmth envelop her. The familiar coziness of Ethan's apartment brought her comfort. The sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a soft glow across the room. She set the cake on the kitchen counter, glancing at Ethan as he moved around, grabbing mugs and preparing coffee. She noticed the easy smile on his face, a stark contrast to the tension she had seen in him the previous night. "I just wanted to make sure you didn't miss out on my birthday treat," she said playfully as she unpacked the cake slice. Ethan chuckled, his eyes reflecting a mix of gratitude and affection. "Well, I appreciate it, and honestly, I'm glad you're here. This is a nice surprise." They settled at the small dining table, enjoying the cake and a simple breakfast Ethan quickly put together. Scrambled eggs, toast, and freshly brewed coffee. The conversation flowed easily, shifting from the events of the previous night to lighter, more playful topics. "So," Ethan started, leaning back in his chair, "did you enjoy the party? It looked like you were having a great time." Sicil grinned. "I did. It was lovely seeing everyone, although I have to admit it was a bit overwhelming at times. But you know how much I love birthdays, even though I forgot mine earlier." Ethan smirked, taking a sip of his coffee. "Yeah, you've always been the life of the party. I could see that from a distance." He paused, his smile faltering slightly. "I'm sorry about last night. I know it was probably awkward with me and Sebastian being there in the same room for you." Sicil reached across the table, placing her hand over his. "Don't be. It's not your fault, and it's something I have to navigate. But I want you to know that I'm here right now, because I wanted to be with you." Her words seemed to lighten his expression. He squeezed her hand gently, the tension between them dissipating as they shared this quiet, intimate moment. Ethan's confidence grew as they continued talking. He felt a sense of reassurance having her there in his space, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Ethan leaned back in his chair, watching her with a look of pure contentment. "You know, it's mornings like this that I look forward to," he admitted. "Just us, having a simple breakfast, talking about nothing and everything." Sicil's eyes softened. "I feel the same way. It's these little moments that make everything worth it," she agreed. Ethan's face lit up with a thoughtful smile. "Have you ever thought about what it would be like to share mornings like this every day?" he asked, his tone suddenly more serious, his eyes searching hers. Sicil paused, taken aback by the question, but then she smiled, the kind of smile that reaches her eyes and makes them sparkle. "I've thought about it," she confessed quietly. "Waking up, having breakfast together, planning our day, it's something I could get used to." Ethan reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "Then let's make it a reality someday," he said, his voice filled with hope and confidence. "I know there are things we need to sort out, but I believe in us, Sicil. We've been through so much already. What's a few more obstacles?" Sicil squeezed his hand, feeling a wave of warmth and reassurance wash over her. "I believe in us too, Ethan," she whispered. "I really do." As the morning slipped away, Sicil knew she needed to leave soon before Sebastian arrived. Reluctantly, she stood up, gathering her things. "I should go," she said softly. "I have work, and Sebastian will be coming home to pick me up any minute." Ethan stood up as well, stepping closer to her. "Already? Can't you stay a bit longer?" His SS face faltered slightly at the mention of Sebastian, but he quickly masked it with a smile. Sicil smiled apologetically. "I wish I could, but work is equally important. I just didn't want to leave without seeing you." "All right," he said, standing up as well. "Thank you for coming over, Sicil. You've made my morning." Ethan's expression was a mix of understanding and reluctance. He leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. Sicil too smiled, standing on her tiptoes to plant a quick kiss on his cheek. "I'm really glad we could do this, Ethan. I'll see you later." He nodded, his eyes holding hers for a moment longer. "Definitely. And remember, no matter what happens, I'm here for you, always." With a final, lingering smile, Sicil turned and made her way to the door. Ethan watched her leave, his heart swelling with a mix of emotions: love, hope, and a newfound sense of confidence. He leaned against the closed door for a moment, feeling the warmth of her presence lingering in his home. This morning had reaffirmed everything he felt for her. Despite the uncertainties, despite the complications with Sebastian, he knew that their bond was strong. He believed in the love they shared, a love that had grown deeper with every passing day. Ethan felt a surge of optimism as he imagined the future, filled with countless mornings like this one, where they would laugh, share stories, and make plans for a life together. With a smile on his face and a renewed sense of hope, Ethan walked back to the kitchen, ready to tackle whatever the day would bring. For the first time in a while, he felt certain that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together.